Greetings, members, one and all of the Salivation Nation. It is my honor to introduce to you Jonathan Swyers from Monument Metals. And he has a little bit of news for us with him as a bullion dealer. You know, he hears things, he sees things, he's got supply chains and knows what's going on at the Mint and other places. And so, Jonathan, I'll just kind of open this up to you and tell us what you have learned and how that could affect things.
Well, thanks for having me again, Sal. So it was either earlier this week or I think it was late last week that the word has come down from the U.S. Mint about availability of gold and silver eagles for the rest of the year. Now, if you've been paying attention to those markets, you've probably seen premiums. I mean, they weren't very low on silver already; they were very high, but gold was still relatively flat in terms of premium movement up until about a week ago. And what happened is, the wholesalers that are direct mint distributors, or APs they call them, authorized purchasers, they have a dialogue with the mint, and the mint will reach out and say, hey, what kind of allocations are you guys going to need for the remainder of the year? What are you expecting to need to sell? Trying to, gauge how much they're going to produce and, have that dialogue with the direct mint APs. Anyway, I have good sources that essentially said that the U.S. Mint, made this call about a week ago and asked the dealers, hey, listen, what do you think you're going to need through the end of this year, specifically for gold eagles in all sizes and gold buffaloes. And so the dealers, did their projections like they always do and say, hey, I think we'll need X amount. And the Mint said, well, we're going to be able to provide you about less than half of what you're asking for. Now, in terms of the reasons why they're going to provide less than half, I don't know the reasons why. I can tell you why it's not. It's not because there's a shortage of gold per se. Just look at all the other mints that sell gold products. There's no problem getting gold bars, gold Britannias, gold maples, whatever in gold. So there's no shortage of gold, but for whatever reason, production problems, your guess is as good as mine. The U.S. Mint is not going to be making as many gold eagles or gold buffaloes as the market really needs. So in response, you've seen premiums shoot up across the market over the last week because of this news. And I think that'll probably continue through the end of the year unless the U.S. Mint, changes their mind later and is able to produce more. The story on silver eagles is much really the same as it has been. There's a lot of demand for silver eagles. Premiums are through the roof. Please stop buying silver eagles, please. But those premiums are high, and they're made even higher because the U.S. Mint is not producing enough either. That's more of a blank production issue with Sunshine, which has typically been what the holdup is with silver eagles in the past. But when I saw those premiums started to jump because of those reasons, I know that a lot of that kind of news doesn't always filter down to the retail consumer. And I got a couple of angry emails last week, saying, hey, I was been waiting to buy the half-ounce gold eagles for a while, and you guys, prices keep dropping, but you guys keep increasing your prices. I'm making the same percentage I was before. It's just our costs are higher. So thought people should know. And, that's a very big part of the gold and silver market. So if you're looking for those kind of metals, maybe there are other ways to buy them that's more cost effective for you.
The rule for stacking gold or silver is to find the best deal possible. And I tell you what, you have grown as a company with the reputation of these low prices. And this is another thing that is quite fascinating because when you quote spot price, you are actually quoting the spot price. It seems like other bullion dealers quote a higher futures price or something.
We've grown a lot. I would call our pricing fair. I don't know that we're the least expensive out of anybody, but there's always there's always somebody willing to sell something for nothing on a deal or a break-even kind of thing. But I'd say in general, we try and have the best prices we can at all times. One thing I've really tried to do, especially since COVID hit in 2020, is during this period of increased demand and higher premiums, I'm not in a position to totally avoid higher premiums because we have to get the stuff from the people that make it. But I've tried to be as fair as we possibly can at all times, even through all this, and I hope people remember that when things calm down, whenever that eventually happens. As far as spot prices go, all I know is what we do. We just report what our spots read as. We don't pad them, we don't alter them, we don't do anything with that. I don't know what anyone else does. I don't know what they're pulling from. I don't know if they're using other futures months or something like that. But all I know is that ours appears to be one of the more fair spot prices, which means that anything you buy from us, no matter which, no matter what the spot price is, you're getting a fair deal at any point.
From what little research I've done, because I've actually inquired about this from other bullion dealers, is some of them average from different sources, and some of them use the futures markets to gauge, which I'm not fully up on as far as how that works, but it's interesting. But nonetheless, the big news here, though, is about the U.S. Mint reducing production. Now, from what I understand from the original intent of the legislation for I think it's called the American Eagle Act of 1985, aren't they mandated to produce to demand? I guess it's to demand as realistic as possible, as much as they can do, right?
I'm not one to interpret that kind of law. You may want to ask the U.S. Mint that, but I think demand can be interpreted probably many different ways. I would argue that demand for silver and gold eagles is probably the highest I've seen it in my entire career, especially on silver. The fact that we sell any silver eagles at these premiums is crazy to me. Again, stop buying silver eagles, please. Buy something.
Right.
I mean, people still want them. I think a big reason why people still want U.S., especially in silver eagles, is there's this feeling that if you buy U.S., that in potential confiscation later, that you would somehow be protected or something like that. Confiscation is not going to happen again. All of the criteria that were needed when that happened in 1933, it's really not the same situation anymore. And on top of that, when you're talking about the levels of silver and gold out there in private hands, yes, there's a lot, but confiscating all of that material and knowing where to go to confiscate any of that material is essentially impossible. It's much easier if you've got a country in default or something like that, to seize all IRA money or something that the U.S. government knows what it has, it knows what the value is, and they can just click a button, something like that. I'm not saying that's happening, but I think that drives some of the market on, especially silver eagles, people thinking that they can only buy U.S. When in reality there are private mint options and bars and rounds. And many of the other world mints, like Britannia's, Maples, Krugerrands, Kangaroos, and others, have really viable alternatives that are not being bid up to these crazy numbers. And those products are easily resold too. So don't get it in your mind that you can only buy and then resell competitively U.S. products. It's just not the case.
I think not only that, but also you have probably the fear of liquidity. In other words, if I needed to sell my gold in a hurry, would they take a Canadian Maple Leaf? Would they take a Britannia? And the answer is really yes. I mean, most places, if you sell either to a local coin shop or what have you, they recognize those other sovereign mints. They're even the Krugerrand is the longest running 1 ounce gold bullion coin in the world. And so, yes, very liquid no matter what, and you pay less premium for them.
I'd agree with all of that. I would say that if you're going to sell your precious metals and you have Maples, Krugerrands, whatever, and you take it to that place and they don't know what they are and don't want to pay you any competitive number for them, then you're selling it at the wrong place. That stuff is liquid. Anyone can walk in here with those. You can sell those to a multitude of places online, a ton of places in person. I mean, all that stuff is commoditized. You can sell it anywhere in the world.
I appreciate you using the word multitude.
You're welcome.
Going back to the original headline, I guess, because I have heard from several different sources that the U.S. Mint is actually stopping production, but you can put that rumor to rest, right?
Well, I mean, look, I'm not calling the mint and saying, "Hey, mint, what are you doing?" That's, I'm hearing this through wholesale suppliers that I'm using, people that I trust. I haven't heard that they're stopping. I've just heard that the allocations are going to be far less than expected.
And there's going to come a point in time as the year goes on when they need to retool or what have you, or get ready for the next year of production because they start that
Yeah,
in late winter. So, right.
November-ish, something like that. Yeah,
So that's going to be coming up as well. So they're likely, this could very well be semi-normal where they slow down some production because usually the big production months are, November through maybe April or and I don't know what it is, but I have to look at, but the sales figures from the United States Mint
yeah,
come out monthly, and there's other channels that follow that closely. So you could probably do an analysis and see what
yeah.
previous years have been.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember that off the top of my head, but yes, they do list their sales figures monthly online, and it's public, so you could just go on their site and look. And yeah, I'd probably argue that the first part of the year and summer is probably where most of the production happens. That makes sense.
And the point is here is there's a lot of demand for gold eagles, and this is why
Yeah,
the premiums are going up. It's and that is the case. That's economics 101.
mhm.
And we have inflation as well, and inflation affects the entire supply chain. Gold and silver are not immune from inflation. The cost to produce the blanks, everything, fuel is all tied to it.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little upset seeing the news specifically about the gold eagles and gold buffaloes. I mean, silver eagles have, it's been a long time since those were competitively priced from anywhere. So those are almost a lost cause for for the short term anyway. So seeing the production levels on gold eagles and gold buffaloes drop like that and cause these premium increases. I mean, we've got gold, 1735, I think it is. It closed at today. I mean, people are trying to buy, people have been buying, and I agree with those customers that email and say, "Hey, I was about to buy. Why is your price higher than it was 2 weeks ago when spot was higher?" I'm with you. I don't want to do that either, but I think it's important for people to know what's happening in the market, and that's why it's good to know you, Sal.
Hey, thank you. It's an honor to know you too. And there's something else flying across the rumor mill, and actually we've heard it from the source because you said not to buy silver eagles.
Hmm.
Well, apparently there's this one billionaire, lady
Yeah, I
billionaire from
saw.
Texas, who is not listening to your advice and bought 900,000 silver eagles. Apparently, what are your
Yeah,
thoughts on
so
that? Do you think it happened?
somebody posted on Reddit somewhere about that, and I read it, and I made a comment saying they should have called us. I would have saved them a few $1 million on something else. So no, they didn't listen to me. But I'm sure the reason they bought those is for the reasons I was mentioning earlier. They just want US and don't care about anything else. If you're watching, call me. But
There you go. All right.
um, no, seriously though. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Miles Franklin is a reputable business. Andy Scheckman is well known in the industry. So I would believe them. I would also tell you that a few weeks ago, when I think that's when they said it happened a few weeks ago, I do remember that Silver Eagles at most of our wholesale locations were in stock, ready to go, and now a lot of it is 3 to 4 weeks out. So when you have a big order like that hit the market, things tend to disappear. So it's very possible.
I think we kind of covered some about spot price and about premiums. There's different opinions about premiums, and some people feel like the bullion dealers are just raking in the cash. Those are the kind of things that's being discussed now. Blame is being put in a bunch of different directions, and as far as
Yeah.
that's concerned. And then also just silver shortage. There's still some people that say as well, because I've heard recently about the LBMA having less silver now than they've had
Right,
in
less
forever.
silver and registered, yeah. I mean, I follow all the stuff, so I see it. Silver shortage. I would say that there is a shortage of minted product. Every time I try and order 1,000 ounce bars, I never have a problem. The sources that buy way more than me that I know never have a problem. So it's just a matter of, if you want a specific round, a specific bar type, if you think about it from a mint's perspective, if you have more demand than you can handle, you could do two things. You could increase your production capacity, or you could raise premiums and make more money. So, from a mint's perspective, why would you spend more money on, logistics and, creating that more capacity and staffing it and whatnot? And if you do that, you charge a low premium and make less money because there's more of your product available on the market, because now you're meeting demand. Now there's plenty of stuff out there. Or what if you keep it as it is, maybe increase it slightly, but keep that demand high, maybe a little bit more than you can produce weekly, keep that price up, and charge higher premiums and make more by doing less. And I think, I can't prove it. I don't work at any of those mints, but I have a pretty good feel that that's probably the majority of what's happening. I can't speak for all precious metals retailers. All I know is what we do. I'm making the same percentages now that I did a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I do think, and that includes on Silver Eagles, by the way. I'm making the same as I was before, but the problem is, our costs are going up. Do I think retailers have a responsibility to try and keep premiums lower? I do. And I think everyone has their own business to run. I mean, everyone's got mouths to feed. Everyone's got to keep the lights on. So it's up to them and what they charge. All I would say is, to the retail consumer out there, remember the independent companies like ours who try to do our best for you when premiums are high.
Two other real quick questions before we go. Number one, I've seen this before. It may just be coincidental. We're starting to see the email blasts from bullion dealers with save on these bars, save on this, on these silver products or gold, really good deals. We didn't see those for quite a while until we started to see the prices go down for gold and silver.
Well,
is there a connection? Is there a correlation? That's what some people think.
My feeling is a little different than maybe what your experience is, only because, we do that all the time here. I mean, that's probably one of the biggest things we do. We don't do a lot of advertising. We do a lot of email marketing, and, we're coming up with deals all the time. I think maybe what I would agree with is that the deals were better than they were, say, over the last 3 to 4 months. March through June, demand was still high, but it slowed to manageable amounts for a lot of the producers, and premiums were coming down. I mean, I got down to, where my cost on some 100-ounce bars was like a dollar over, maybe $1.10 over spot. Pre-COVID, 100-ounce premiums were, 70 cents, 60 cents, things like that. So we were getting much closer, especially on silver, to more reasonable premiums. Silver Eagles really never came down that much. But on everything else, they were starting to somewhat return to normal. And then I'd say, late when the interest rate hike started, late June, early July, and the reactions to those things, demand picked up again. And as soon as that happens, all of a sudden, the mints that I'm paying for this stuff want more. So, when that happens, the cycle repeats. So anything I can get my hands on in silver, I'm trying to sell it as reasonably as I can. Silver Buffalo rounds, I have a bunch arriving on Friday. I try to buy more than I can possibly sell. And every time I do that, we sell out before they even get here. Demand is still high.
It's amazing. It really is. And I wonder if there's a lot of new buyers too out there. Seeing any new accounts?
I agree. I think there's definitely sort of a wave of new buyers. And I think that's always good. And to the new buyers that are watching this, don't be overwhelmed. It's really actually pretty straightforward. Buy major mint or major private mint retail products at the lowest possible premium over spot. If you do that, you really can't go too wrong.
Well, last question, and that is anything new with Monument Metals? I mean, you've got to be growing. Your reputation is really good in the community. I've heard nothing but good things.
Well, thanks, Al. Yeah, we're growing quite a bit. I think we'll probably have some exciting news to share in a month or two. We'll talk about that when it happens. We've been hiring a bunch of new people, getting new people trained up. We're growing quickly. We moved into our current office about a year and a half ago. And I remember when we moved in, I thought this is way too big. We'll never need all this space. And a year and a half later, I think we need to move again because we don't have enough space. So
Wow.
next time I'm going to go really big. But that's thanks to all the people watching this video and people that have supported us. And we're going to try and we're going to remain independent. Consolidation in the precious metals industry is, I think, a really big future issue for the retail precious metals buyer. When the place that you're buying from controls the process from the mint to all the way to you, that kind of vertical integration may be good at times now, but once they control enough market share, prices are just going to be raised on you. So try and support all the independent dealers you can while you can.
Thank you, Mr. Swyers. Appreciate it. This has been a very enlightening, and thank you so much for being here. And for all of you for taking the time to watch, I want to extend to you a multitude of gratitude. Take care, all.